would use anti-air missiles to shoot down Israeli aircraft if they threatened other nations preemptively, like what has happened with this thing in Iran. The thing is, hey guys, this was a preemptive strike by Israel. Okay, meaning they went in first. They sent their aircraft in first. Okay, and the United States had no choice but to follow. Once those bombs was dropped, once hostilities started, the United States had no choice, okay, but to get in, and then that's the situation that we're in right now, you know. But absolutely, this president, okay, when he sent those aircraft carriers over there, he was fulfilling, you know, what he was being paid off to do, which is okay. We're gonna protect Israel. We sent those aircraft carriers over there, knowing that the Iranians have all types of missiles. They have anti-ship missiles. They have ballistic missiles. Okay, they have hypersonic missiles. So
all right, Mr.
American.
Let's try to wrap it up. Yeah, let's try to wrap it up.
I was in a matrix. Sorry. American lives, yeah, you know, he even said, you know, there's going to be casualties, guys. We're going to have casualties. We're going to lose American heroes because he knows the casualties are coming. He knows there's going to be a lot of, you know, this ain't going to be pretty. But I'll land right there.
Let me ask a quick question, Sick, to Cass.
He's going in.
What do you think would happen if Trump would start bending over for Israel? What do you think would happen? Kennedy. Sorry, go.
What do I think would happen? Boy, here's the thing though. The question's flawed because Trump is not bending over for Israel. I keep telling you guys, here's the thing, right? If I ask yourself, do you know CIA intel? You're not gonna tell me yes you do, right? So why do you guys think that everything on the surface level is all that there is? You guys really don't think there's different layers to this shit? Trump is not bending over for Israel. Trump is dealing with the problems in order. He's saving Israel for last. But he's taking care of that. So before you get to Israel, right? Israel, from what I know, this is where all the corruption comes from, right? The people, and I'm not going to say everybody, but those people, that's where they're at, right? They're the source of the corruption. So before you get to them,
Wait, who
you have to...
Israel or America?
It's Israel. Israel and those types of people, right? So they're just, all the corruption really starts from there. All that shit stems from there. So it's really, he's taking care first. What you have to do, you have to clean up the U.S. government, which is going on. If you see everything, you guys could have connected dots. Hillary Clinton just had a deposition. They're asking her about some crazy ass shit. Frazzle drip, Anthony Weiner laptop. Bill Clinton is in a deposition because this is happening because they will get arrested soon, right? Trump has been hinting at this since he's been in office, since before he's been in office. That's why he always makes a joke about arresting Hillary Clinton because he knows it's coming. He knows what she did. So all that shit is tied to Epstein. All that shit is tied to Barack Obama. Barack Obama is the one that funded Iran. He funded Iran, and then that they were able to build fucking nukes in the first place because Obama was funding them. Obama is not who you think he is, and he's not who he tells the American people who he is, right? So there's a lot of corruption going on in terms of that. That's why Obama and them, they're cool with Israel too. You gotta start seeing this shit. When you have one bad apple cool with another bad apple, it's easy to see where the bad apples are, right? Then you start to understand why America hated Russia so much, because you know what? It's Russia. They're not the bad guys. And Putin, he be chilling. You're not with all that crazy ass shit that they doing on this side of the world. So that's why all the propaganda is always going out Russia. But Trump is not bending over for Israel, bro.
Let me ask
Trump
you,
is.
let me ask you this very last thing. What would you then say, like, what the hell were we doing? When I say we, it's the United States and their allies, right? In Iraq, right?
In Iraq.
Yeah. One second. That was all intel coming from Israel, Shitrel. Anyway, and then you went 21 years, which costed approximately, and these are public numbers, in between $7 and $9 trillion in Afghanistan. You accomplished nothing, right? And all this is because you believe what these Eastern European colonizing, baby killing, satanic fucking little hats are telling people what to do, right? And it's like, now I'm not saying Trump is the weird.
As opposed to you Europeans,
What are you saying? Gay King, why are you interrupting me, Gay King?
Because I am a moderator and I can't.
No, you're a gay king. You're not a moderator. You got a green vegetable, that's your name.
Yeah, you've got your own vagina sitting there in your face. But
Have you ever seen a vagina in real life, Gay King? Oh, can you ask the McDonald's manager to reset the password? We can't hear you.
Okay, leave it.
Hold on, one second. All right, love it. Let him chime in real quick, and then just Brad, keep it concise so he can finish his point. But yeah, Brad does have a right to chime in.
It is the point. So you have these Europeans telling us what we should do, but again, these are the same people who live under the very blanket of economic freedom, our own trade. They develop very little for the rest of the world. In fact, they rely on everything to be imported from China, etc. But now they're pissed about Israel, but they don't do anything. His nation doesn't do it. He doesn't do anything or contribute. He doesn't fight. So my question is, why should we listen to these European people when they don't do anything? Like, why? Tell me why. Why would we listen to you versus against Israel? Because to me, both of you are the same.
Just to finish my point, I'm Asian. I got a European passport, just like you are a European with an American passport. So you are more European than me, Gay King. Or should I call you Viking? Anyway, Cass, what do you think about like Israel sending you to go there, bodies getting piled up of U.S. citizens, U.S. military?
Wait. No. You're going to answer my question before you go on.
No, but you can't make me, Gay King.
I can.
No, you cannot.
Yes, I can.
You can't make him answer a question.
But then I don't have to let Mr. doesn't have to answer it, right? So then we're just at a mute point. So then Ludwig brings up the discussion because again, Sig, I'll ask you this: why are we listening to Europeans tell us how we should conduct our affairs or how America should operate? Why are we listening to these guys who have contributed nothing to our society?
Because freedom of speech. That's why.
They don't have it. They passed laws to restrict freedom of speech in their country. They even have it.
And we're grown ass people just having a conversation.
Hey, just for the sake of this conversation, Brad. We're on stage in Clubhouse.
No, but I get that point. But KP wanted to throw his drunkenness in there. So again,
KP's drunk. You fucked hard.
Yeah, just stay being inbred and saying the dumb pigs while you're fucking tipping that glass over.
All right, Brad, just get because here, hold on. Here's the thing. Ludwig was, and I don't want the mods to abuse your badge.
I'm not abusing. All I'm asking is a simple question: why is European so worried about what America does when to me it just sounds like, hey, I don't want you to give it to Israel. I want you to give it to us. It sounds like they're the spoiled second child. That they're just pissed off that we're donating our time and money elsewhere, and they're like, "Oh, please, I need to be on welfare, and I need to."
It sounds like you're describing Israel.
It sounds like I'm describing majority Europe.
Well, and why are you excluding Israel? If Israel is literally doing the same thing, they got free healthcare, right?
So now
Retirement, free housing.
So now you admit that you guys do it,
right.
And now you're just pissed off.
Okay, so let's say we do it. 1 second, so let's say we do it, right?
If you want to get into it, go ahead. Go ahead and get. I wanted you to be able to finish your point, Ludwig. Hold on, Cass, real quick. Yeah, mods. What I don't want to do is I want to use the badge to moderate or a quick point, like how I did Mister. Just a quick clarification, and then let the person get back to their point. I don't want to go off into a tangent and derail what that person's point was trying to be. That's how I want the mod badge used. But I want to give Love a chance. If you want to go back and forth with Brad, while you got the mic, that's fine. If you want to change it up, but
it's very simple to debunk his point, right? First of all, I'm not on welfare. Right? I don't do any of that because I'm like old school traditional. I believe that the man should make the money, right? Man makes the money, money never makes a man, Brad. I cannot say that about the majority of people that live in Israel, which are in general Europeans. So they're double fucking you. They're Eastern Europeans living in the Middle East that comes directly from your paychecks taxes, right? So you're getting double penetrated. It's double degenerate. It's not just one penis, it's two sausages in one hole. Brad, you're worried about Europe? You're getting cocked. They live like kings
So
over
again,
here.
I'm worried
Like
about
kings.
Europe. I'm worried about Europe.
Goes to Europe again. I'm not talking about Europe. Why bring up
20
Europe?
billion. So wait, 20 billion versus
Super
130
gay.
billion. So again, 130 billion versus 20 billion. Europe takes the greatest chunk of my time, my resources, to commit the most military asset. Why am I worried about Europe, who clearly can't defend themselves? You couldn't do it in World War I, you couldn't do it in World War II, you couldn't do it in any of your conflicts. In fact, you guys lost to a guy who went on hunger strikes in India and basically called himself Gandhi. So, I mean, you guys lost everything in your entire thing. You lost the Middle East, you lost everything. So you guys created all these problems, and now all of a sudden my tax dollars and my revenue have to go to that. And I have to support you guys at the most. We spend the most money in Europe as a whole than any other spot in the world. We spend more on you guys than we do on many of our own social programs. And you know what we can do? We can take all of that and put it towards our citizens to have free healthcare, free education. But no, we have to protect you guys from the big bad forces of the Soviet Union and other entities, and we have to sit there and go fight your wars. Because you know what? You guys are too fucking much of welfare kids to actually do anything yourself. And then you get mad at America for deciding which direction it's going to go in. You don't have a say. Otherwise, step up to the plate and cash in and pony up, but you won't. Because again, you guys don't do that stuff.
And then the last thing I will say, you made this about what we are doing, right? Well, you have your little lap dog, your barking dog with barely any teeth, like a 90-year-old man, right? And telling you, oh, go there. And then your fellow Americans come back in body bags and limbs blown off and PTSD and lifetime of fucking pills to cope with days and whatnot more.
So wait,
They're telling you, one second.
Weren't you scared of Russia and I had to go?
No, I'm not afraid of Russia.
Weren't your leaders all cowering and we had to go?
Who is we?
The United States.
Did you hear me complain about anything on this app?
Yes, you did. You guys cried. Your leaders.
Who's you guys?
Got up there. All the UN leaders, the EU leaders, got up there and cried and said we needed to
when did you hear me cry, Brad?
Provide the jets, provide all.
You are defending Israel more than the U.S., Brad.
We had to do energy reductions.
Brad.
So your point about Israel.
Why don't you have no smoke for Israel, Brad?
Why do what I have smoke?
Where is your smoke?
My money.
If you want to smoke a cigar, you need a lighter, Brad. You're not smoking shit. You're pretending to be smoking.
You know what? It's just that
Brad,
you just want to target Israel, and you don't want to take accountability for your own nation.
Why don't you have no smoke for Israel, man? Why are you digressing always to Europe and about what I'm complaining about instead of like the average American that is fucking disgusted by a bunch of colonizing white Europeans that are fucking blowing up babies?
You are European.
I'm a European citizen.
Well, look,
Why are you not complaining
You're
about?
European. You're not
So just to be
Are you going to be a broken record, Brad?
I'm gonna tell you every day.
Okay, guys, let's keep the conversation moving. All right.
I just want to.
What was you saying? Look.
Yeah, true. Look. Yeah,
I just
let's
wanted to
let
add-
you chime in. And Payman's been waiting patiently too. Let's get them.
Yeah, I'm enjoying the spat, but I just wanted to say, if we're talking about like the average American's perspective on Israel, I don't think all of America is like anti-Israel. I think there's a lot of Zionists in this country.
I think there's a lot of war hawks in this country. I grew up hearing shit like just nuke the Middle East, so like they don't care. What they don't like is their prices going up, their gas prices going up, they don't even really care about the vets. A lot of that's bullshit. They don't care about the vets. They like glory, they love war, so they don't care about that. But it has to make sense. Right now they don't like the status of the economy, they don't like their budget, they don't like their living expenses, they don't like the income coming in. They a lot of them like what he's doing with ICE, so they're like, let's let that wrap out. Why can't we, focus on one thing at a time? Can we afford this? There's a lot of different things. I'm just being honest with you. Now, people on the left, yeah, people on the left are just like anti-war in general, especially they're humanitarian, so they can't stand what Israel's doing. Um, but all of them, whether they're on the left or the right, are literally just like Israel. They're the Israel that made it. Canada, the Israel that made it. The United States, the Israel that made it. Like, what are we talking about? Like, they killed all the natives, took the land, called it manifest destiny, talked about God and shit. Like, what are we? So now I get it. It's the modern era, so it's easier to have this. Oh well, my ancestors did all the genociding, so like.
But truth, let me ask you something. Do you think a majority of Americans want Europe to sit there and tell them how they should actually be when we know for a fact that we have to fund everything they have from power? We have to provide their oil. We have to give them moderate. We have to intervene to control their energy prices so they could afford to heat their homes. We have to sit there and provide the trade routes. We're the ones having to deal with the straits primarily 99% of the time. And so why would we listen to a bunch of Europeans saying it's just you need to stop listening to Israel, when in fact we should just be stopping listening to Israel and Europe and say no, we shouldn't be listening to any of you guys because all of you are pretty much in the same camp. You create the same problems.
Yeah, I can agree with that too because they basically offshore their military expense to us and then invest into their own local infrastructure and social policy, and then wag their finger at us for not having that infrastructure and social policy. And it's like, it's because we're literally funding your defense. Like, if Russia wanted to gobble them up with China, what the fuck would they even do?
No. So, like I said, this that's changing now because
my question would be this to everyone.
Thoy, you just got on stage, bro. There's people waiting to speak before you. So just be patient. Just be patient, bro. You literally just got on stage. Payman's been waiting a long fucking time. Actually, Payman, you got the mic. I want to let you go. You've been waiting a long time. Payman hasn't interrupted anybody. Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your time. Thank you very much for giving me a chance to talk to your stage. But what I'm saying is, like, we have the biggest conflict in the Middle East, and the Arab-Israeli fight forever. But all of a sudden, we had the one.
Payman, can you get a little bit closer to your mic, bro? It's hard. You're really muffled. We're trying to hear what you
Yes, sir. What I'm trying to say is that we had a Middle East conflict, and they were fighting forever, and all of a sudden, the one man came with the name Anwar Sadat, and he said, we don't want to fight anymore. We want a normalization. And he traveled to Israel, and in the parliament of the Israel, he gave the historical speech, and he announced, we don't want to fight anymore. And we want to just, relationship, normal relationship. Arab nation was not ready for him. When he came back to his country, all the Arabs, essentially, they left the center from Cairo to another country, and he got assassinated, and finally they assassinated him. But we had, the Jimmy Carter just trying to make the Begin and the to the Camp David. They tried very hard. Nothing was working. Finally, we came to the first administration of the Trump, and Trump picked up this idea of the Salah normalization, and he developed a win-win situation for all the Arab nations. And his first trip was to the Saudi Arabia. He turned the Saudi Arabia with the document from 9/11 to be like coming to the peace treaty. And they shaped all these jihadis and the terrorist sympathizers out of the cabinet. And the Saudi Arabia got the idea, and other Arab nations, they start having an embassy of Israel, and they start normalizing. and the only one was left was Saudi Arabia because he's the biggest one. Then he came to United States in the Biden's time in the media and he said, I am ready to normalize my relationship. All the eyes was like around it and all the head turned 180. What? Yeah. Saudi Arabia, like the Camp David, like the Saddam, is announcing he's willing to normalize the relationship. The fight is over. That was beautiful. 28 September in all the media in 2002. Then, on the October 5th, the Islamic Republic of leader of Iran, the one he just got killed, he gave a historical speech. And he says, anybody wants to walk in that path of normalization, we're going to break his leg. And October 17th, Hamas went and invade the country and show all these ladies and girls with the bloody past and the naked in the back of the pickup truck. And all that scenery was for what? To make a graphic scenery, to make a retaliation and revenge. And what you see in Gaza Strip is drawn by Hamas in the foundation of the financial and support of terrorism by Iranian government. They destroyed the peace, the Abraham Accord. But did the Arab nation fall for that? No, they knew it was Iranian trap. They were very angry what happened in Gaza, but they never dropped the plan. Biden destroyed every plan of he got it from the Trump administration, like a beautiful Keystone pipeline plan and everything. But he didn't touch the Abraham Accord. He knew he's a genius, and he kept it, and he tried to capitalize on it. And then Mohammed bin Salman, MBS, the head of the Saudi Arabia, in his time, he was ready. It means if it was happening, the credit was going to Biden, but it didn't happen because Iran didn't let it happen. Trump came from the beginning. He said, you know what, Iran, you are responsible for all this murder and the destroying the Gaza Strip. I'm going to get you. Then they came to see, to study what is the case of Iran. They saw people in Iran that were not happy. And what is the opposition? Because all the country in the Middle East are pro-West, and Iran was the pro-West in the Cold War. He was inside of America. But after 79, with the Brzezinski, doctrine and the Jimmy Carter, they can empower the Muslim against the communists, and they got power. And that was a wrong idea. Why? Because Bin Laden, he got power, he came to the United States, the twin power. And after that, Iranian, when they got the power, the Islamic radical, they captured the embassy of the United States for 444 days. And they started the state terrorism in the war. Never been happened before. It means that the Brzezinski doctrine and the Jimmy Carter policy, it was so bad, the Cyrus man said, you know what, I'm going to quit. You guys effed up. And he quit. Now, Jimmy, the Trump, he came and picked up this idea and he developed it beautifully. And he went to the Middle East and he got the money, $4.some trillion to invest in the United States for the AI and renewable energy and everything. It means we have the biggest customer in Persian Gulf. We need what? We need stability and peace. Who is the obstacle? Iranian government. What is the situation with Iranian government? Oh, they have opposition. Since the government of Iran is hating America and Israel, the opposition is towards West. Very unique opposition, which we don't have it in the Middle East. All the opposition usually are anti-America, anti-Israel, but this one is unique because it came from the leftist government. And this is the one you have to asset and capitalize and change the government because this is not the time to capture the embassy. This is the time all people in Iran, they come on the street in the millions and they get massacred. They come diaspora in everywhere in Europe, in United States, Los Angeles, in Toronto, Canada. In the big number, they come and say, we don't want this government. Now is the time. You're taking care of this. And who is your ally? The Israel, he sees the existentialist threat from Iran, and he has to take care of it. It's a wide verse. You come on the street, either you shoot me first or I shoot you. Either or. You don't have no other choice. Then Israel is trying to sacrifice. United States is willing to bombard and just lose it for Iranian people to get the power from these radical people. And who is getting benefit? United States. Why? Because China is getting the bargain price oil from Iran and Venezuela. What does it mean? It means that the oil, imagine the price of the barrel of oil is $100. Since Iran and Venezuela during the sanction, the Chinese is the only one they can buy it with the trade, not getting sanctioned, getting punished. How much they pay? They pay stolen price merchandise. It means $100, they pay 35. What do they get? Do they pay by the money? No, they pay by China goods, a piece of junk. And United States say, okay, if I'm taking care of this peace treaty and the Abraham Accord and they're serving my customers in the peace, then I'm going to grab the China to come into the market and buy the regular price market, and he compete with me with the regular price market, not the stolen price market. Then it's going to be a win-win situation for United States. And anybody says Israel and this and that, and the United States fall in the trap because Israeli, lobbyists, and they find that they have no idea what's going on. They have no idea how much Islamic situation is going to develop. It's coming to the United States in the big chunk. If you're taking care of it, it's going to be like that. Whereas the Gorbachev, please bring the wall down. This wall of the Islam radical from the Al Qaeda and ISIS and Islamic Republic, and after that it's going to be Muslim Brotherhood. Iran is going to play the big key in the Middle East, and it's going to be a beautiful ally because they came from lefties and they love America and they love normalizing relationship with Western and are not threat anymore to Israel. They can spend the money and time for competition in the economy and peace one for hopefully a lot of times. And the Sadat and the normalizing relationship finally came to picture from 1975 to 2026. And this is the winner. You should.
Well, I'll say this, okay, and it's really dangerous right now because, yes, the United States, they took Venezuela, they're about to take Cuba, and now they're assaulting Iran. Remember, Venezuela and Iran are China's two biggest suppliers of oil, and they were getting a lot of cheap oil from those countries. So now they've been cut off from that. So the big threat is, what if the Chinese are like, hey, these guys are cutting off our economy. Remember, the Chinese economy is already in trouble. It's already been in trouble for the past few years. They already had a housing crash within the last 3 years. They've had, you know what I mean? They've had, rising energy prices and stuff. They have a demographic crisis. Okay, they have this crisis with their young people who are discontent, and they're doing like this whole lie flat thing where they don't. And China has a lot of problems, and now you're going to cut off their oil supply. If you better hope that their mindset isn't like, okay, they're going to cut off our oil supply. They're choking us. They're trying to cripple us, bring us to our knees. Let's launch a hypersonic missile Pearl Harbor. Let's take out all the American aircraft carriers in one day.
That'll never happen.
You know what I mean? But you have to think like that because, well, see, they didn't think Pearl Harbor was going to happen either. And
they did know Pearl Harbor.
They didn't. No, because you know how I know? Because the fucking generals at Pearl Harbor, they had all the airplanes lined up wingtip to wingtip because they didn't think it was a big deal.
Your fucking president knew.
And then they came in and they bombed all the planes. They bombed all our planes. They bombed all our battleships in one day.
Bro, they knew it was gonna happen.
So yeah, it can happen. So what I'm saying is this. But hold on, bro. Let me just say this. Let me finish. What I'll say is this, right?
Hold on a second. Because
okay, go ahead.
The president knew Pearl Harbor was going to happen. He went and got a massage and got high. And he let this shit happen.
Yeah, because they wanted a reason to enter the
That's
war.
not what happened. That's not at all.
Well, I'll say this. Well, look.
They knew it was gonna happen.
I'll say this. Is that, yeah, that hypersonic missile threat, that's a real threat. That's a real, okay, hypersonic missiles are a real thing. And I don't think people understand what hypersonic missiles are, just how terrifying of a weapon, the hypersonic missile is. Okay, you're talking about a missile that you can shoot that is connected with GPS, it's connected with satellites, it's smart, okay? You know what I mean? It can literally turn on, it can do a 90-degree turn, okay? It can see the battlefield in front of it. When it gets close to its target, if it sees that its target is already hit, is already on fire, it'll turn and go to another ship that's not hit yet. You know what I mean? And it flies so low, radar can't, this thing can fly, fucking 50 feet off the ground, and then you know what I mean? And then it can pick its target in real time. You know what I mean? This shit is devastating. And so, like I said, if they decide China decides to use that weapon, okay, U.S. is in trouble. We could lose all of our. Okay, they got 3 aircraft carriers over there right now. Okay, they got the Gerald R. Ford, they got the Abraham Lincoln, and they're about to put the George W. Bush over there because they're getting ready to send ground troops into Iran. All 3 of those carriers are they're in the same place. Two of them are in the Mediterranean. One's in the fucking Persian Gulf. So they know where they are. The Russians are sending the Iranians, intelligence about where all of our military assets are. So they know where our carriers are. They know where our destroyers are. All they got to do is group up those missiles. And look, the way it works, if they launch a drone swarm, missile swarm, okay, and then you launch 5 or 6 hypersonic missiles with that, okay, the automated point defense on these destroyers, it can't decipher between, just the regular missiles and the the ballistic missiles and the hypersonic missiles. Okay, so it can't prioritize. It's trying to get shoot down all these missiles. Okay, the system's going to be overrun, and one of these hypersonic missiles, it's going to get through, man. It's going to tear these ships up, man. It's going to be bad.
Shit, man. China not.
It's going to be bad. Trust me. We lose our first ship, it's going to be bad because each destroyer had 300 sailors on it. You take a hypersonic missile to a destroyer, you just lost 300 sailors. Just like that. A $6 billion destroyer taking down.
Bro, just again, so China's not going to attack anybody. America has bases, allies surrounding China. They're literally surrounded by Singapore, the Philippines, Japan. There's so many different countries. South Korea obviously would have to contend with North Korea, but it's not happening. China's already publicly stated that they are very prepared to. They said China will never be the first strike, but we will have a definitive second strike. So basically, their setup is you attack us. No, that's anyway.
His name is Victor Mao. If you want to look that up, that video. Victor, and his last name is Mao, M-A-O.
So truth, you're right, because 2 of their carriers aren't even functioning. The third one barely floats. And we've already proven that their advanced weaponry we can shut down instantaneously, which we proved in Venezuela. We shut it down in no problem flat. So all of that talk about how we should be scared, we just showed China that we aren't afraid. So all of that technology that everybody's afraid of and the fact that the carrier groups trying to hit a carrier, good luck. I mean, you're going to have to do your best. The defensive systems that are on a carrier are massive. You're not getting through that. And then you have ancillary craft because no carrier sails alone. You have anywhere from 9 to 11 other craft that are designed and purposely placed there to actually protect the carrier, along with subunits that are underneath floating around. You're not going to get there. And then we have Space Force who's operating SATCOMs all the way up to the top. You're not going to be able to target a carrier. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, that's true, man. Yeah, China's bluffing, bro. Even their air defense, man. They're bragging about a Gen 6 fighter and shit. It's already been debunked, bro. China's just full of hot air.
Yeah, China.
No, but here's the thing. In war, you cannot underestimate your enemy. And the problem with us Americans is, yes, we have a powerful military. Okay, we're used to seeing our powerful military go all over the world and exert America's will over the world. But see, they're gonna fight this conflict, a multi-dimensionally. Okay, so yes, they will get those hypersonic missiles. They'll find a way to get those hypersonic missiles into Iran. And once they're into, it don't take a lot of them. They could send them 100 of those hypersonic missiles.
Get them into Iran. We basically
they already have.
We locked down the air. We locked down the sea. So you can try to transport them to the land, but there's a big country that doesn't really like China, so they can't do it there. That's called India. You're not going to smuggle them through Pakistan, and they're not going to bring them in through Russia, because Russia will take that shit, because people forget that Russia and China aren't really friends. They're still fighting over territory.
Okay,
So
how do you know?
Because we can see the border clashes.
Okay, but how do you know they're not going to send it into Pakistan?
Because they will disappear in Pakistan like everything.
Okay,
else.
let me ask you something. Where was Osama bin Laden hiding? Where did they find him at?
How do you think we found him? Is when he went and set up shop there. Who do you think told us? Hey,
No, he was hiding in Pakistan, sir.
Pakistan, bro.
Oh yes, Osama was in Pakistan.
No, he
That's where they
wasn't.
found him. That's where they found him. Go look it up.
That's where they told you.
That's where they got him at. And see, here's the thing. All right. Iran still has nations. Hold on. Iran still has nations that will support them. North Korea is saying they're going to support Iran. China, of course, is going to support Iran. Russia, of course, is going to support Iran.
This makes no sense. Who in Iran would actually say that? Because there is no government in Iran. All of that
Matrix.
they're off with their skydiving. So you don't have.
Hello?
Wait, Viking, are you there? I think you're in a matrix, buddy.
The matrix, brother. Okay, so who in Iran is pulling the strings? Because there is no leadership in Iran that's able to actually coordinate that. And nobody's going to send their top tier weapons defense systems to an unstable government where nobody knows who's in charge.
All right, well, now listen to me, buddy. Every day you see those missiles, they shooting those missiles. Every day. The other day, they just shot cluster bombs over Tel Aviv. Every day. The other day, I think, was it yesterday or today, they just hit fucking Dubai airport, almost blew up an A380. Okay? All those planes that Emirates has, that world-class airline that they got over there, they're about to lose all of that. Okay? They got missiles landed right into the airport. Okay? So somebody's giving the orders to shoot those things off. And you're telling me they don't have a government, they don't have a command and control. No, somebody is giving orders to keep firing those damn missiles.
So, yeah,
that means
those can be
somebody's in charge. But see, here's the thing. But hold on, let me finish.
No, stop. I'm saying, what is China going to do is send their top tier missiles and defense systems to who? Who are they going to send it? Because all those things that you're describing are coming from ancillary generals trying to vie for power.
Now, see, here's the thing: is that what's happening is this: is that,
very simple.
and the Trump administration.
Listen to this one. It's very simple. China invests 4.5 billion in Iran. Do you know how much is in Israel?
Well, now, buddy, my issue with you, buddy, is your audio.
No, China has a more investment in Israel than over Iran. 4.5 versus 15 billion. Okay. It means China has more interest in Israel than Iran. China has more interest in the United States and Saudi Arabia than Iran. He doesn't want to conflict his interest in Saudi Arabia and Israel over Iran. He's not going to sacrifice that. He's not going to send any kind of missile or anything. He has all his time. He didn't do shit because he's looking for his money. They are economy people. They are not stupid. They look at the market in Saudi Arabia. They look at the market in Israel and United States. And Iran is the piece of shit for them. They're just using it like a napkin. They're giving it as stolen price merchandise, and they're just using it. If it's going to be expired, they're going to deal with it. But they are not going to go and send a missile and fight the United States over Iran. Go and look at your statistics. Look at the chat GPT. Say how much China invests in Israel and how much is in Iran. He's going to tell you 15 versus 4.5. Easy.
Now, buddy, my only issue with you is just your audio. If there's something you can do about it, I don't know if it's your mic, but it's sometimes it's hard. I got an idea of what you're saying, but sometimes it's hard for me to hear certain words. Maybe if you can use a different mic or if you can come closer to your mic, I don't know. But to me, you sound like real staticky. So if you could just work on that, that'd be great.
Shut the fuck up and listen.
Or maybe speak louder.
Or
Yeah,
you
I
can
was
shut
just-
the
I was
fuck up and
trying-
listen.
Yeah, I was trying to tell you, China investment in Israel is a very teeny tiny country. It's like a one little state of in Iran. It's 15 billion. But how much is in Iran? The whole country, 4.5. How much China has an investment in United States, Saudi Arabia? A lot. Does he's going to interfere that because of the Iranian? No, he's not stupid. He's a market guy. He knows how to count his money. He's using Iran for bargaining price to get the oil. And after he's finished the expiration date, he's going to accept it. Okay, United States came and captured the market. I have to go to the real market and buy it $100. I cannot buy it 35 anymore. It's done. It's finished. He has a bigger picture for his economy than to just come sacrifice his economy for Iran. He's not going to do that. This kind of idea and the way you're looking at it is the wrong angle. It's not the correct one.
See, you're looking at it from like an outsider, but you don't understand just how desperate the Chinese are, okay? Xi Jinping, he's desperate, okay? Sooner or later, he's gonna have to invade Taiwan in order to reunify China. If he cannot deliver Taiwan, he's gonna fail, and the CCP is gonna fail as well, because their whole theme is a reunified China, and Taiwan is the last part.
How are
that
they
they have
going to
to-
invade? How are they going to invade? They can't get through the something that's
What
weak
they're-
in place there. Hold on. And then you have Japan, Philippines, and Australia, along with a multitude of other nations that are, including India, that said they would actually go to defend Taiwan. So now China's not willing to take a fight on with India. They're like, oh, no. So if you're going to have this geopolitical...
Okay, so what have we placed in the Taiwan Straits? Like, what have we
The only
placed?
thing that Taiwan wants to do is a
deflect on
culture...
his point, bro. He brought up a good point.
Like you can maybe a cultural change. Maybe they can do an election where they want to go back to China. Maybe that happens, or they do an economic war in which Taiwan fails, which is so far Taiwan's winning. So I'm
Taiwan is winning.
Yeah, right. Like I'm losing. Like what do you mean they're going to invade them? They can't. They won't.
Hey, let me explain. All right, let me explain.
What's in that?
Here's the situation.
Let me kick
Right.
my 2 cents just real
What's in
quick.
that doing? The first Trump, when he said, you go over there and fuck with Taiwan, I'm going to fuck you up.
Yeah, just real quick, let me kick my 2 cents. As Mike and Brad just brought up, China doesn't want war with anybody. You have to understand, China. You Mister, chill. China's actually in one of the best positions any country's ever been in historically. Like, it wouldn't even make sense for China to start a war. That's ridiculous. BRICS is actually largely successful. Them creating an alternative supply chain to the West supply chain is successful. When you measure your success by comparison, that's in the same way that's the thief of joy for an individual. It's also an incorrect way to look at geopolitics. The Earth is huge, right? There's a lot of room for a lot of giants. And China went from 100 years ago being a country of peasant farmers to being a superpower. So, China's population is a huge advantage. They have more people with master's degrees than we even have people. That's nuts. They have 400 plus million citizens with master's degrees. So China's in a good position. They don't want war. It would screw everything up. This would be the perfect time for them to start a war for the West, funny enough, because it'd be a slugfest. Everyone would lose, but we'd still be there at the end, and they'd be fucked. So, and that's just because there's hegemony. So hegemony, just real quick for anyone who doesn't know, hegemony, just the idea that there is an established status quo. There's an established global reserve currency, for example, in the dollar. Over 60+% of transactions that occur worldwide utilize the dollar. Most nations, their reserve currency is the dollar, even if they have their own currency. This matters because people are not incentivized to want the dollar to collapse.
Therefore, they're not incentivized to want to watch the West defeated. They might want a West equalizer, though. They might feel like, hey, the West is too high on its own supply, it's a monopoly, so they kind of like the idea of alternative power, but they don't want to destroy the power that exists. So China does not have any allies that would actually go to bat for it against the West. Those allies wouldn't win, they're surrounded. China is surrounded, and China is not going to war with India. India's got 1.1 billion people. Again, like, you gotta understand,
India
they're
1.5
building
billion.
their ability to go to war in a defensive position. They are not trying to be an aggressor. When it comes to Taiwan, that's geopolitical as well. If America put their dick on the line and said, look, you touch Taiwan, we're going to World War III, and China believed them, this is important because Putin was told that by Obama in Georgia. Putin did believe him, and he was right. Obama was bluffing. So that kind of matters too. If it's not a bluff and they know it's not a bluff, they're not touching Taiwan. If it is a bluff and they can tell it's a bluff, they're going to touch Taiwan because they've set themselves up to be embargo proof. They don't care if we embargo them. Hence why we're doing shit in Venezuela and Iran and Greenland. Like, this is a mineral and a resource war. This is a proxy war. This is a cold war. This will never go hot.
What you're saying is like China, the U.S. would interfere if China would decide to take Taiwan.
I doubt we would militarily, but we'd probably proxy the hell out of it. We'd put all our allies in the area. We'd probably threaten them and bluff and see if they back down. And then the second...
Proxy wars, tariffs, taxes, all that, the standard. That's what you're saying.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, because America, the West doesn't want to war with China. It doesn't even make sense, because now you're going to war with China and all its allies. You're inviting terrorists.
Then your iPhone is going to be $5,000.
You know?
That's what it is. Like, you know, there's very little that's being fabricated in the U.S. or in Europe anymore. You know, just look at every fucking label around the house, including your clothes, your shoes, your underwear, your furniture. It all pretty much comes from China. There's maybe one or two items not, but the rest is all damn fucking China. So if you declare war on China, it's sort of like, it's a self-inflicted wound at this point. You know, it's like, what are you gonna do? Like, you're gonna pay for your average fucking desk that's like $50. You're gonna pay like $500. What is a fucking computer is gonna cost? Right? The fucking gas station charger that's $10. Oh, it's gonna be 50 or 100.
In China,
You're gonna do that every 6 months, and you can go on forever with all the fucking items that you buy every day for pennies on a dollar. They're gonna be fucking 5, 10, 20x, God knows.
and China does want to lose that income. Not gonna happen.
Yeah, no
Well, look, I'll say this, all right? And see, you guys at this, like, logically, but like analysis of it, I know China is in trouble. Their economy has been in trouble the last 3 years, and now they've been cut off from their two big